Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals, please listen to the rules and procedures that will follow for tonight's meeting.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you're acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application and it's other than a renewal and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Is there anyone that would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First application is application 24-132 of Angelo Di Gennaro, property located in Deer Park. Name and address for the record, please.
Gennaro Cozzolino, 2125 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729.
Do you affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated July 31st, 2024. Town of Babylon Zoning Board 96-243 dated December 12th, 1996, which was approved with the restriction that the deck is not to be covered or enclosed. Department of Environmental Control memo dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Constance Pilnick dated April 23rd, 2024. Shows the shed with a front and side elevation. Tax map acting as an area map,
And Mr. Chairman, we have 11 photographs and a site plan by Michael Angelone dated May 2nd, 2024.
thank you. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Again, Gennaro Cozzolino for the homeowner, Angelo Di Gennaro, residing on 93 Overton Street, Deer Park, also known as Section 21, Block 3, Lot 17, located in the Residence B zone. We are requesting relief from the board to build a new 22.6 by 15-foot, one-story rear addition and a new front wood stoop, replacing the old one. The new rear addition is much-needed expansion to the existing kitchen, adding a pantry and extending the first-floor bedroom in the rear. The proposed additions require a variance for front yard setback, requesting to build at 11.5 feet to the new wood stoop instead of the permitted 30 feet, a difference of 18.5 feet. Variance for rear yard setback, requesting to build at 33.83 feet instead of the permitted 40 feet, a difference of 6.17 feet. And there is also an existing 10 by 14 shed that requires variances for side yard setback, requesting to maintain 4.7 feet instead of permitted 8 feet, difference of 3.3 feet, and variance for rear yard setback, requesting to maintain 5.8 feet instead of permitted 8 feet, a difference of 2.2 feet. The proposed addition will have no significant impact to the environment, will not affect any of the adjacent properties, and will fit in with the character and nature of the neighborhood. We did go over the Planning Division's recommendations. We would agree to condition the front stoop never to be enclosed. Should the shed ever to be replaced, will be placed in a conforming location. The house is a one family and will remain in one family. Does the board have any questions?
Thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Correggio.
Good evening. How you
Good evening, how are you?
This extension, is it going to take the place of that rear deck that's in the back?
The deck is being removed, correct. There is no new deck being built. That was the reason why there's a new entry on the main floor. I agreed.
Okay, so all that decking is going to be removed, and the extension is going to be directly
In line
in
with the
line
house.
with the house.
Correct.
Okay. And you do agree to not further enclose the front porch,
Yes, sir.
and the basement is going to be undivided and no habitable space, just for,
Well, the previous owner had finished partial part of the basement, which we would like to keep, and we will be legalizing that.
okay. It appears here that the plans, your applicant's plans show that it's undivided for storage only.
Correct. Well, it's going to be used for storage, but they would like to keep the finished basement.
Okay.
Is it divided, or is it just a
No,
big
there's no
finished room?
there's no separation. There's one entrance, and there's stairs that go up and stairs that go down to the basement.
Internal,
Excuse me?
internal.
Internal, correct.
Okay, so there's no
No
dividing
separation between the two spaces.
So you agree that's just for storage?
Correct.
Okay. Two other conditions that we'd like to, if you would agree to, would be owner occupied and no accessory apartment.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve application 24-132 with the conditions that basement only be used for storage and be non-habitable. Be owner occupied, no accessory apartments. If the shed ever to be removed or taken down, it would be built in a conforming location, and that the front stoop not be further enclosed.
Second. All in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Next application is application 24-138 of Brent Needham and Bailey Nolte, property located in North Babylon.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Brent Neenan, 161 Marcy Street, West Babylon, New York.
Ma'am?
Bailey Neenan, same address, 161 Marcy Street.
And do you both affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated July 31st, 2024. Environmental control memo dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. Survey by Lawrence Michael Haynes dated March 30th, 2021. Tax map acting as an area map. And
Mr. Chairman, we have 4 photographs and a plot plan by architect Brandon Hamchuk, dated 12/12/23.
okay, would you like to tell us about the application?
It's for a variance for a covered porch, as well as the maintenance of a shed in the backyard at this point. Permission for the variance is to diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 18.83 feet. Diminish west side yard from 12 feet to 9.75 feet. Diminish total side yards from 30 feet to 21 feet 7 inches. Increase total building area from 20% to 22.4%. Diminish distance to rear lot line from 2 feet to 1 feet 11 inches. Diminish distance to west side line from 2 feet to 1 foot 7 inches. In addition, the proposed porch will be set back in character with the rest of the neighborhood, and the shed, if necessary, if ever moved, will be rebuilt in a conforming location.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Ms. McCullough.
All right, so the porch will be replacing the stoop that's
Correct.
currently there, yes. And it will not be enclosed.
It'll have a cover, not enclosed though.
Perfect. The Rubbermaid shed, could it be moved 2 feet off the property line?
As far as I know, it's affixed to the property. I've never tried to move it. I don't think it's gonna move.
You don't think it's going to move?
No.
Okay. If it needs to be ever repaired or taken down, will you agree to replace it in a conforming location?
I will agree, yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
All right, I make a motion to approve application 24-138 with the conditions that the front porch not be enclosed, and if the shed is ever to be taken down or rebuilt, it is rebuilt in a conforming location.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next application is application 24-136 of Ripco Management, property located in North Babylon.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the applicant, Tom Abate, ABBATE. I'm an attorney with offices at 88 Sunnyside Boulevard in Plainview.
Okay, for the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated August 2nd, 2024. Environmental Control memo dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. This is a site plan by William Wimple, dated, no, I can't find a date on that, or I can't read it, one or the other. Tax map acting as an area map, and
Mr. Chairman, we have 8 photographs and a title survey by William Wimple dated January 2nd, 2022.
would you like to tell us about the application?
Yes, this application tonight is to renew a twice previously approved sign on my client's property. The subject premises is on the west side of Deer Park Avenue, just north of its confluence with Comac Road. It's a 4.7-acre site in the Business E zone, which is improved with retail stores. But it's not just a straight strip mall. It's not like your run-of-the-mill strip mall that we ordinarily see. This is a rather deep property. It's rectangularly shaped, and we have 4 separate buildings. The one that runs parallel to Deer Park Avenue is set back the farthest from the roadway. And then we have 3 others which are perpendicular to the roadway. And because of that arrangement of the buildings, the respective tenants' facial signs can't be seen from Deer Park Avenue. Consequently, the prior owner received permission to erect this ground sign, which we're seeking to renew on the property tonight. The subject sign originally received the imprimatur of this board on June 23, 2011, under application 11-129, and at that time, you put a 3-year limit on it. The prior owner came back in September of 2018 under application 18-154, and it was renewed again, and this time for 4 years. That has subsequently expired. It expired in 2022, and now we're here. I was particularly amused, quite frankly, when I got the planning memo that said, hey, explain the delay, because that was the very first question I asked my client. What happened? If you look at your packet tonight, you'll see the deed. My client didn't take title until March of 2022. And when they got all of the requisite information and documents from the prior owner, we were not provided with the ZBA decision. So we had no idea that it needed to be renewed until we got notification from the town. Consequently, we're here this evening to do so. I will tell you that I've represented Ripco for decades, and Mr. Michael Korf in particular. This is not a scenario which I would expect to occur in the future. They are meticulous about municipal approvals. From a substantive standpoint, the sign has not changed in any significant respect. Clearly, it's interchangeable as tenants come and go, and the premises and the area, the immediate environs, hasn't changed in any substantial manner. The ground sign is located at the southeast corner from the property, which is at its least intrusive location, and from my personal site inspection, does not cause a vision obstruction, either for motorists or pedestrians.
Okay. Thank you. Turn the hearing over to Ms. McCullough.
Hi.
Hi.
So, will
Good
you
night.
will you be taking over responsibility for renewing these signs, or is this just for this introduction?
Oh, no. We're fully responsible. We're the property owners. Ripco is the management company.
Okay.
I represent Ripco.
Perfect. So this won't happen again.
I'm not in-house, Ms. McCullough, just so you know.
Perfect. All right, so, and you said no structural changes or anything like that?
None whatsoever. You have the dimensions of the sign. It's a separate exhibit before you.
Perfect. Okay. I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
All right, we're going to go back to 3 years. Okay, we're going to go back to 3 years.
I'm sorry?
We're going to go back to 3 years?
Well, as outside counsel, that really depresses me. That really hurts me. Do you want to make it 2?
We'll go back to 2 years.
No, I was just kidding.
All right. So I make a motion to approve application 24-136 for 3 years.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, see you in 3 years.
See you in 3 years. Thanks very much. Good night.
Next application is application 24-140 of Marissa Wary, property located in Deer Park. Name and address for the record.
Marie Sawari, the address of the building or my address? 558 South 7th Street, Lindenhurst.
And do you approve? Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Absolutely.
All right. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated August 2nd, 2024, environmental control memo dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Harold Bosch dated May 23rd, 1972. Tax map acting as an area map.
And Mr. Chairman, we have 3 photographs and a site plan dated April 24th, 24 by George Badger.
Okay. Would you like to tell us?
We are missing a couple items. We need the affidavit of posting, and we are waiting for Suffolk County Planning as well as the fire marshal.
Is this the affidavit?
Yeah, me either. Okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Looking for a special exception for a gymnastics school. I've been there since 2012. I'm actually not going to be there very long. I'm looking for a new building. My landlord needs her space back, so this is just for the next few months.
Okay, is that the reason for the time lapse? It was expired
No.
in June.
That was because since 2012, I've always received the application in the mail, and last year, when I guess I was supposed to renew it, I was told that I had to vacate my building, so between that, I dropped the ball, but I never got the packet, so I never thought to ask, and it was always 3 years prior to this. So,
Okay, so how long do you think you're going to be there?
till December, maybe,
Till this-
hopefully,
December?
yeah.
Okay. Hours of operation is the same?
Everything's the same.
Basically the same as it was.
Nothing's changed.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions. We do have to wait for...
Yeah, all right. Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. We're going to close the hearing and reserve decision. We have to wait for Suffolk County Planning and a fire marshal's report. You probably should get a hold of the fire marshal and have him come there and,
Okay.
check it out. All right?
Okay, yep, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Next application is application 24087 of Frontline Auto Sales, property located in West Babylon.
Good evening, board members.
Name and address for the record, please.
Name is Jesse, and last name is Hipsch, and address is 925 Peconic Avenue, West Babylon, New York.
Okay, and do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated August 2nd, 2024, environmental control memo dated July 26, 2024. Just that you should be cognizant of potential land use conflicts. You abut residential, so you need to be aware of that.
Yes.
Survey by Harold Bosch, undated. Tax map acting as an area map, and
And Mr. Chairman, we have 7 photographs and a land survey by Harold Bausch, undated.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, we are missing the Suffolk County Planning as well as the fire marshal.
What's the deal? Okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
I'm just seeking to renew, and it did expire. Don't really have a good excuse, to be honest. We always renewed it. We've been there since 2005, and it did lapse. And just looking to renew the same permit that we always had.
Okay, turn it here over to Mr. Shepherd.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Well, thank you. Very well kept, nice, clean premise you keep there. How many employees do you have?
There's two total employees, only one at a time.
I'm sorry?
2 total, only one works at a time.
One at a time?
Yeah.
And you got a pretty well-packed lot there.
Yes.
You have customer parking and employee parking?
Yeah, so you can see in there, they kind of, on that, by the arrow, like that would be the employee, the customers. We don't have a lot of customers at one time. It's usually just one customer at a time, to be honest.
Is it by
So-
appointment?
No, it's just a small place. It's not like multiple people are pulling in at once. Not usually, to be honest. So.
Gotcha. Mr. Chairman, I don't think I have any more further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Okay, so,
We need to just amend the previous approval expired in 2019.
Yep. All right, sending a note to Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to amend. Ooh. Previous approval expired, amend to expire January 28th, 2019.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to close the hearing, reserve decision. You'll get the decision in the mail. We're going to wait on Suffolk County Planning and the fire marshal. You should be getting in touch with the fire marshal to get him there to inspect your property, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so this way you can keep this thing moving.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. I don't know if you're calling my other business next.
Say that again?
I have another one next door.
Oh, you,
I don't know if you were planning on calling. it
Cosmos?
next.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, stay there then. Next application is application 24-135 of Cosmos Service Center, property located in West Babylon. Name and address for the record,
Jesse Hipsch and 925 Peconic Avenue, West Babylon, New York.
and do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated August 2nd, 2024, environmental control memo dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. Survey by Lawrence Michael Haynes dated January 26, 2021. Another survey by Michael Scalise dated 2/25/16. Tax map acting as an area map,
And, Mr. Chairman, we have 7 photographs and a survey by Scalise Land Surveying dated February 25th, 2016.
Would-
Mr. Chairman, we are missing a couple of items, the affidavit of posting, as well as the fire marshal and Suffolk County Planning. You have the affidavit of posting?
I don't have one, but I sent them both to Jayla, and she confirmed receipt on email. Yeah, with the photos and everything. Fire marshal, I don't have a good answer yet.
Yeah, so you need the fire, same thing, you need the
Okay,
fire marshal.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, what would you like to tell us about this application?
So I'm just looking to renew, but in the memo, there was just a couple errors, and I don't know if I'm not looking to start trouble or anything, just wanted to maybe just correct it for the record. It says auto body, it's not an auto body, it's a public garage. And it says it's been there since 1990. It was built in 1978 as a repair shop.
Auto body.
Again, I'm just trying to straighten the letter out that I got.
Yeah. So those are the same covenants and restrictions, either for a public garage or an auto body?
Yeah, no, again,
Okay.
I'm just trying to straighten it out. I'm not looking to start any trouble,
Okay.
so to speak, or anything. Just
What was your other question? I'm sorry.
no, that's that it was built in 1978 as a repair shop.
As a repair shop, okay.
Yeah, it was never like a
Repair
different
shop.
building that
So
was.
you never did auto body work there?
No.
None.
I'm a new owner. I've owned it for approximately 3.5 years, but it was built as an automotive repair shop
Okay,
in 1978.
okay.
At least, it says at least 1990, so it was 1978.
Yeah. Yeah? Yeah,
It's not wrong.
yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not trying to start any trouble.
We don't need
I just
Clarify
figured,
it. No,
let's
no,
get
no,
the
we get it.
facts. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we're-
That's all.
fine. Not a problem.
And then the only other thing I wanted to say is, I took over approximately 3.5 years ago. The previous owner had a 4-year renewal. I've been there for 3.5 years. I've been a good boy. There's no open complaints. So I know at the bottom it said they recommend 1 year. I've already did 3.5 with no problem under the previous owner. So just want that to be known.
Okay, well, what we need, like I say, we need the fire marshal and Suffolk County Planning before we can make a decision, and then we'll decide the
Okay.
application and how, long
Yeah.
it'll be, all right?
Fair enough.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone? Go ahead.
Let me,
Oh, that's my fault, yeah.
let me have your hours, what are your hours of operation?
8 to 6. Monday through Friday, closed Saturday and
And
Sunday.
again, number of employees?
There's 5.
Okay, all at the same time, from 8 to 6?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. If you read the planning comments, what we're worried about is the spillover into the neighborhood. There's been no complaints for 3.5 years, but you're surrounded by a residential
Sure, I understand.
neighborhood, so you need to be a good neighbor.
Sure.
The overnight storage, can you explain this?
So at this location, we don't really do a lot of big jobs. We try to keep them smaller, so keep them in and out, but occasionally, it could be even a car that got towed in, somebody broke down, and the tow truck leaves it outside, or it could be, we're out of room inside, and the car is disabled, we're waiting for parts, and just stuff like that, but nothing's dismantled, a part outside, or, stuff like that. It's just a situation where it might not be. What's that?
You're limited to 4 vehicles?
I'm asking for 4, yeah, because there was none before, so I'm trying.
Okay. And you agree to the standards, covenants, and restrictions for auto repair?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
No, I'm not looking to be on the tow list, but if sometimes a customer has their own towing and like say their car breaks down and they don't want to, they just want to get it there, they're not going to tow it to the house and then tow it back to the shop, so something like that. It doesn't happen often, but just, it could happen.
4 cars,
Yeah,
4 vehicles.
yeah.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Okay, we're going to close the hearing and reserve decision. We need Suffolk County Planning and Fire Marshal's report.
All right, so I contact the fire marshal, the
You need to
planning.
contact the Fire Marshal. The Suffolk County Planning will come to us.
Okay,
Not a
great.
problem.
For both locations.
Both locations.
Okay, yep.
Okay?
Thank you, everybody.
You got it.
Have a good night.
You too. Yeah. All right, so, next application is application 24-137 of Saab LLC, property located in Lindenhurst. Soob. Name and address for the record.
For the applicant, John Farrell with the firm of Son Ward, Braff, Koblenz, Kashignano. Our offices are at 1300 Veterans Memorial Highway, Suite 100, Hauppauge, New York.
Okay. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated August 2nd, 2024. Environmental control memo dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Barrett, Bonucci, and Van Weel dated August 13th. I'm going to say 2018. Tax map acting as an area map, and
And Mr. Chairman, we have 7 photographs and a final survey dated August 13th, 2018 by Barrett, Bonacci, and Van Weel.
love them. What would you like to tell us?
So the subject property is located on Sunrise Highway, 213.29 feet east of North Jefferson Avenue, right across the street, actually. In November 2017, the board granted an approval for a special permit for outdoor storage, as well as a parking variance and a special permit to operate the automobile service station. It's been in operation. I believe the CO was issued in August of 2018. We're here tonight seeking renewal, hopefully for an additional 5 years, to operate the automobile service station and for the outdoor storage. I believe that the parking runs with the land, so I don't believe we need to renew that, but I would defer to the board on that. I understand that the special permit expired a little less than a year ago. We try to be timely with these matters. We were actually timely on the dealership, which is just down the road a bit to the east. With this one, we were a little more focused on wrapping up some site plan modifications and finishing that out before we knew it. This approval was expired. It expired last August. So again, it just kind of fell through the cracks, but we're trying to be timely with the approvals. I'm going through the planning memo. I just want to touch on a few things. They indicate that there was a notice of violation issued on May 20th, 2024. We addressed all of those. We addressed the notice of violation within about 2 weeks, and a summons was not issued for the site. So We are in compliance with the site plan approval. We obviously need to renew this, and then we need to get some extensions of time for the planning board to finalize the site plan. But we're probably about 2 months or so away from getting a CO on this property. So the other issue that was raised in the planning memo was about the modification to the site plan regarding the site circulation. What they did was they made the curb cut, which is shown right here on the screen, a one-way entrance-only curb cut, so that vehicles that were coming in for service could pull right into the garage bay, deal with the service advisor, and then they'd go to the different bays inside the building, get the work done, and then when the vehicles are done being repaired, they're taken out the back door, and then they're either parked for the customer to come get, or they're brought up front for the customer to get in and take off. But they basically go in, they come out the back, and they go around down the west side of the property line and out the west curb cut and then onto Sunrise Highway. So it's a much better site flow than having that curb cut up there being a two-way curb cut. It avoids conflicting movements from vehicles, and it's designed to reduce backup on the property, which could impact Sunrise Highway. So the other issue that I know there was some comments in the planning memo about vehicles being improperly stored. I know when the site was first done, there was some parking of vehicles on the lawn of the property. That was resolved relatively quickly, and they have not been doing that for quite some time. There's another comment about improperly, storing vehicles. I'm not sure how to address that because I don't know what the improper storage issues are. This is an active automobile repair site, so vehicles are going to be taken in and out of the garage and moved around so that they can be worked on. If there's a vehicle in there that's inside that's waiting for parts, they're going to take it out and put it in the lot, and then they'll bring it in when that part comes in. All the vehicles are kept inside overnight so that there's no issues out. So in the morning, when they come in, all the cars that are stored, they try and move them back out into the area if they can't stay in the garage while they're working on them. With that, ask if the board has any questions.
Thank you. Turn hearing over to Mr. Rigney.
How are you, sir?
So in regards to the renewal, we'll be on track for next time.
I already put it in my calendar for August 2029, so when you approve it tonight, I'll be ready to go.
So, and planning has an updated site plan at this time?
Yes, I didn't realize that. I had asked the architect. I guess the architect sent me the wrong plan, but I can provide the July plan. That's not a problem.
I drove past today between the South Bay Diner and their property. There still are some cars parked in the median there.
That's not our property. No, we're on where the improved side. That was a road that was abandoned. So half of that went to our client, my client, the car dealership. The other half, I believe, still belongs to the diner. And I think that's where the diner employees are parking, actually.
Okay, because I know some vehicles without plates just parked.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure if that was you guys or not.
I don't believe that's us. I'll try and confirm. If that's an issue, we will. If it's their cars, I'll make sure that they're removed from the property.
And if you're looking at the building to the east,
Mm-hmm.
side of the building, there's a lot of tires stacked on the side. They just almost look like they're thrown.
Right.
Do they get a service of pickups with the tires, or?
So, yeah, so one of the parts of the last approval were permission for outdoor storage of the tires. We have to wait till we get a certain number of tires before they will actually send somebody out to pick them up. It's not something that's totally within our control. I can speak to the client about maybe keeping them below the fence line so that if okay, I will make sure they stay on top of that.
And John, looking at the planning memo, do you agree to the 4 conditions that they're recommending?
Let me look at those. I didn't know if those were on the original approval or if those are new conditions. Yeah, I don't have an issue with these.
Any other questions from the board?
Yes. We'll get that to you. I'll have that emailed to the, you want email or you want hard copy? Hard copy. I'll get it for you by sometime next week.
Okay. Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Okay, so we're going to close the hearing, reserve decision. We'll keep the record open for Suffolk County and Fire Marshal, and updated plans.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Have a great
thanks.
evening,
Have a good day.
everybody.
Thanks, John. Next application is application 24-139 of Richard Francisco, property located in West Babylon.
Good evening. Richard Francisco, 21 East Street, West Babylon, New York. Applicant for Legacy Pet Crematory and Friend of Ours LLC.
Okay. Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated August 2nd, 2024, environmental control memo dated August 6th, 2024. There's a number, you should have a copy of this. There's a number of items on here. Facilities limited, animal cremation. There's a number of items on the bottom of that memo. It should have been part of what you picked up in front here. It should be
Oh, I'm
attached.
sorry, I didn't,
Okay, you didn't pick it up, so that's where it is. Sound like things that we have already imposed. A survey by Precision Surveyors dated October 25th, 2021. Tax map acting as an area map. And
Mr. Chairman, we have 8 photographs and a survey by Christopher Buckley dated October 25th, 2021.
what would you like to tell us about the application?
So there's 2 parts of the application. I came in for to get a permit for a new cremation machine. Found out that the renewal was expired. It's my first time actually doing this. I did it when I first established the business, and was notified that I had to come in front of the board to get a renewal for the business, for the crematory. I didn't know that I wasn't going to be notified that I had to take it upon myself to remember these things prior to. So excuse me for being tardy on that. So if I'm asking for the renewal, and I'm also asking to be able to add a cremation machine to the premises. That is going to be a larger machine. Still be filing and still with the DEC for to be in compliance with. We have been approximately now 3 years there, and we have no environmental issues, no problems whatsoever. We follow all DEC protocols. We have recordings of all of our emissions, and stack testing, making sure that we are not polluting in the area at all.
Just the renewal.
I'll turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
How are you?
Yes, sir.
I got to tell you, you're late. And just be clarified, because this is something new in the town, and we like to know,
Yes, so it did not come to my attention until it came to the town for this.
I understand
yeah.
that. How many machines do you have?
I have 1 machine right now.
And you're making it 2?
Yes, I'd like to add a second one.
And just for the record, how many employees are there?
3, including myself. Well, I'm including myself.
Okay, and you agree to the previous improved conditions?
Yes.
On your,
Yes.
all right, Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board?
I just want to clarify for the record, you're the same owner that was originally, you're the same tenant and owner?
Correct. I own the building and the business.
Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. And we need fire marshal. So you need to get a hold of the fire marshal like the last couple.
Yep.
And get him there to inspect before we can move the application, all right?
May I also ask if it's renewal, that I can have an extension for maybe more than 1 year?
Well, as soon
Oh,
as we
sorry.
get fire marshal, we'll take a look at that, okay?
Okay.
You do understand this is just for the renewal of the operation?
Okay.
It's not, doesn't have anything to do with adding your machine.
Okay.
Right, that's,
The application is just for the renewal.
You would have to go to the building department for that.
Right.
he did.
Okay.
So, okay.
You already got 1 year.
I didn't. It's,
You'll
it's
be
all,
on time next time,
It's all
right?
new. It's all
Whatever
new to me.
that
I'm
is.
sorry. I didn't know that they didn't send you didn't get send notifications, and then I'm like, he's like, you're late. I'm like, yeah, I get.
So this use will always be have a term limit. It's your responsibility to renew it every time.
Okay. Yes.
All right, so we're going to close the hearing, reserve decision. We'll keep the record open for the fire marshal's report. Again, that's up to you to get the fire marshal to, over there so he can get back to us, and we can move this, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next application is application 24-134 of 945 Little East Neck Realty LLC, property located in West Babylon. Yeah, we're going to hear them together. You want to hear them together?
Yes, please.
Okay, okay. So then it'll also be application 24-133, 124-133, and that's also 945 Little East Neck Realty LLC. Name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Chris Tartaglia, principal owner of the firm High Point Engineering, located at 1860 Walt Whitman Road, Melville, New York, 11747.
Okay, and do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, I have a planning division memo dated August 2nd, 2024 on both the 24-134 application and 24-133 application. We also have environmental control on both applications dated July 26, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. We also have a survey by Gregory Galias dated March 29th, 2022, and that's the same one also on both applications, I believe. Yes, it is. Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, we have for application 24-134, 7 photographs and a survey by Gregory Gallus dated April 19th of 2022. And for application 24-133, we have 7 photographs and a site plan dated April 20th, 2022.
Okay.
We are waiting for the fire marshal for 24-134.
Okay, what would you like to tell us about the applications?
Yes, thank you,
Are
Mr.
you guys
Chairman.
here on this application? So can you maybe like turn that a little bit?
Yes, so
They're
this
here
is
with
actually
you?
my client.
Oh, okay, that
with us.
doesn't matter.
And I was going to mention that the owner applicant is here with us tonight in case there's any operational questions or anything like that.
Perfect, okay.
So thank you. Okay, so we're here tonight on 2 applications. The first is for about 8 bulk variances that are associated with the gasoline filling station located here at, on my right. You can see the colored rendering, 945 Little East Neck Road. And the second set of variances is for the proposed freestanding sign. I'd like to go through the bulk variances first as part of the gas station, and then we can move into the signage. We are in receipt of the Planning Division memo. We received it today, and as usual, they've done a stellar job of outlining all of the critical issues and the proposed development. I'm just going to run through the variances very quickly, and if anybody has any questions on them, I'm happy to answer them. But we have a total of 8, starting with special exception approval to alter an existing legal non-conforming gas station, and we are proposing a canopy over the pump islands. As you can see behind you, there is no canopy over that pump island. We're proposing to add a new one. Just by virtue of establishing the use, and as the planning memo had stated, there are certificates of occupancy in place for both the use of the site as a gasoline filling station, that being certificate of occupancy number 32780, dated 10/19 of 1961, and there's another C of O number 105035, dated February 2nd of 2000, that also allow the use of the convenience store. So we have legal uses here that had ceased for a little while, and we're looking to just reestablish and renovate the station. The next variance is for minimum front yard setback for the canopy. That's defined as 10-foot required versus 5.4 feet provided. The pump islands are in the location that they're at, so the canopy is just going over the top of those islands. Those islands are fairly close to the roadway, so that's the reason for the requested relief. However, it's 5.4 feet to the property line. The sidewalk is an additional 7.5 feet wide, so we would actually be set back about 12.5, 13 feet from the curb line. The next variance is minimum distance between dispensers, which is the pumps. As you can see, they're existing. We're not moving them, so that's an existing nonconformity. The numbers are 20 feet are required. We have 8 and 12 feet provided. Minimum landscape buffer at the front yard is 10 feet required, 0 feet at Little East Neck Road, as we just discussed. So the pump islands are right on top of the roadway or very close to it. If we were to provide a landscape buffer in between the curb cuts there, that would get in the way of the vehicles coming in and out of the pump, so that's why we cannot provide it. Minimum landscape buffer at reference at the residence boundary, that's 10 feet required, 3.9 feet provided. Notably, that is also an existing condition. As the planning memo states, most of what we're doing here is rehashing over existing variances and reliefs that have been in place since the 60s. And so that's along the residential property line to the rear. We are providing, though, new landscaping and fencing along that boundary, so there will be a nice buffer provided. Next variance is minimum distance from driveway to adjacent property line, 10 feet required, 2.1 provided at Little East Neck Road. So that would be the northerly curb cut on Little East Neck Road. It's an existing condition to remain. We're not changing the access, seeking to change it. It works perfectly the way it is, and if we were to change it, we would probably create some traffic issues. Next variance, similar minimum distance driveway to the intersection, 25 feet required, 6.2 feet provided. Right up on the screen there, we can see the location of that curb cut. It hasn't been witnessed as any kind of a hazard, and it functions properly, so we're seeking to keep that as is. And then the final variance is to allow a gas station at this location on Little East Neck Road and the side street Amsterdam Avenue. Those are not considered major thoroughfares in the town code. So that would typically need a variance to establish a new gas station, but as indicated, this site has a certificate of occupancy, which is still valid for the existing gas station. So we're hoping that the board views that favorably. So that's the bulk variances. Should I jump into the signs, or do we want to hit anything on the bulks first?
Go ahead, you can continue.
Thank you. Okay, so with the signs, as the board may note, so there were some comments made in the planning department memo. They were requesting a reduction in the signs to facilitate an increase in the clear height below the sign. I'm just going to put up a exhibit to my right so I can kind of explain. We are modifying the sign to comply better with the code. I just want to describe that if I can.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the exhibit on my right shows the sign which was originally filed for, the mobile sign on the on your right, the left-hand side of the sheet. It shows a mobile identification sign on top, a sign that says Top Mart, which would be the name of the convenience store, and then what we call a 3-product price sign. So the prices would be for regular gasoline, high-grade gasoline, and diesel. In speaking with my client, the owner, and the applicant, he's agreed to remove the Top Mart sign. We believe it'd be fairly easy for passersby to note that there is a convenience store at the facility, so we'd be willing to remove that sign. And what removal of that sign will do in terms of the sign variances, and I'll just run through each of them and describe how the current sign proposed didn't comply, and then how the new sign makes the situation better. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. So the first sign variance was variance approval for minimum ground sign setback to property line. That's simply the location of the sign. That remains the same. There's 10-foot required, 1-foot proposed. As the board can see on the screen, there's an existing sign in that exact same location, basically at the exact same setback. So we're not seeking to increase the degree of nonconformity of that sign, so there really wouldn't be any impact to the neighborhood with that particular variance, in our opinion. The next variance is minimum clearance below ground sign. 8 foot from grade is required, 5 foot, 8.5 inches was proposed. So this is the one that we're going to be able to make better. With the removal of that Top Mart sign, so if you look just to your right, the new sign would push the price sign up higher to increase that elevation below. So we can't get to 8 feet. We can get to 7'2". 8 foot is the code requirement, and here's the reason why. So as I mentioned before, we have 3 grades that we're showing pricing for. Low-grade gasoline or regular grade, which is a big part of what we sell. High-grade gasoline, which is the next, more important product, the next important product, which completely different customer base. Some folks are out there shopping for regulars. Some folks have an old car or a performance car. They're looking for the premium. And then we have the diesel, which is, of course, a completely different customer base. So that's the folks with the pickup trucks and or a box truck that are looking for diesel. So in speaking about this with my client this morning, when we got the memo, I said, we'd really like to get to 8 feet. We can eliminate that variance completely. It always pleases the board and makes our chances of approval a lot better when we can do that. But he really would like to keep the 3 products. Now, I did a drive up and down Little East Neck Road. There's 2 other stations. There's one immediately across the street to the north, about 300 feet. They have all 3 products posed on their price sign. A little bit further north as we go up to, there's a Sunoco station about a half a mile north on Little East Neck. They also have a price sign that has 3 of the products on it. So we feel that the 7'2" clearance below the sign will absolutely address any of the safety concerns that planning had, which what safety's concerns really were the potential conflict with the roadway sign and the sight lines at the intersection. But at 7'2", with the revised sign, which is 1.5 feet taller than me, we certainly would have clear lines of sight at the intersection. And I think that the visual that you had on the board there of showing the existing sign makes it pretty clear. Visibility at this intersection is actually quite good. So we don't believe that that's a significant variance to request to go from 8 foot to 7'2". And certainly for the landscapers and the folks that are maintaining the landscaping there, as well as people that are on the sidewalk that might wander into that landscape area. Haven't seen too many 7'2" people walking around down there recently, so I don't think there's any danger for anybody hitting their head. The third variance we're proposing is a maximum price sign area, 12 square foot maximum permitted, 23.1 square foot proposed. That is the same, that is unchanged. We do feel also that it's a relatively minimal variance, and certainly this board is aware of similar variances approved that are quite larger than this. And maximum number of signs per pole from 1 to 2. This one we eliminate because we've gotten rid of the Top Mart sign, which is the secondary sign because that's for the convenience store. So you are allowed to have a mobile sign or a logo sign and a price sign, but that price sign is not considered the second sign. So essentially, we can eliminate the other variance for the second sign proposed. So we're making one variance significantly less, and we're eliminating another one with this proposed change. So we would certainly welcome any questions the board may have. Hopefully, I was clear on what we're asking for, and certainly willing to answer any questions.
Thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
How are you?
Hi.
How old are these pictures? It's been a while since gas was $2.49.
That's a good question. You know what? The facility's been closed for a couple of years. My clients, I think, owned it for about a year now-ish. About one and a half, and he's been working to renovate it. You might have noticed that there's some work going on. We do have permits to replace the roof and repair the interior, which has been significantly damaged as it sat with a gaping hole in the roof for a couple of years. So,
Speak to me about the interior alterations.
yes, I saw that in the planning memo. So we have a permit, we secured a permit from the building department for the roof repair and for mold and damage remediation inside the building. So there really are, I don't know if you'd call them renovations as much as they are repairs. Everything that's inside that building in terms of the partitions, plumbing fixtures, the walls, the layouts, everything is back in exactly as it was, or is going to go back in exactly as it was. So there's no renovations, modifications. They've just pulled moldy sheetrock down, and they want to put fresh sheetrock back up, change any wood studs out that might have mold damage on them, fix any tile floors that might be damaged. That's really the extent of the interior work that they want to do.
And how about hours of operation?
So I believe you're,
Decide that, but is town that has to do it 24 hour? Maybe we go for 24 hour. If it doesn't, we probably 6 to 10, 6 to 11.
so I think he'd like 24, but I understand in the board memo that they're.
24 hours.
Yeah, right. So thank you. That's right. I understand that in years past, this facility was open 24. And just to add a little color commentary to that, so we understand we're in a residential area, both sides of the roadway. We've got basically a small commercial depth corridor, and then residences right behind, and we're certainly sensitive to that. The age-old question with uses like this is, what's more of an impact? Is closing at a certain point of night, shutting the lights off, abandoning the site for the evening, is that creating a safer neighborhood than perhaps having somebody in the building 24 hours there for shift workers, there for firemen and cops and nurses and folks that work different shifts than we do, having a light on in the community? You know, those are the age-old debates. The board knows I do a lot of these type of applications. So I would just add that I believe the client would like the permission to operate 24 hours for a lot of reasons, but I do believe, if I'm speaking properly, that if it didn't make sense to be open 24 hours, then you wouldn't be open 24 hours. So with that, I think he'd accept a condition on hours if the board so provides, but I think it would be maybe a good idea to try it out, just because of the safety aspect and the security that it does offer to the area.
Okay, and number of employees?
One per shift?
Well, probably 2 daytime, 1 nighttime.
2 daytime, 1 nighttime. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear him
That's
properly.
fine. You get
Thank you.
Okay, and you see the following conditions for approval: no outdoor speakers or paging system. Zoning Board of Appeal reserves the right to impose restrictions on hours of operation for both gasoline service station and convenience store. Trash receptacle to be provided at dispensers. Property owner shall discourage loitering at the front of the premise.
Yes, sir.
Agree to all, thank you.
So they would agree if the board does allow 24 hours, that they would have the right to that condition if there was a problem to recall it and impose different hours of operation.
I think that's very fair, yes. We'd agree.
All right, Mr. Chairman, anything else, Keith?
Recently, I noticed that there was an excavator on the site. Was that to rebuild or take out the tanks?
No, so there actually is a second permit that we have. I forgot about that. So they are replacing the concrete mats on the top of the tanks, which actually I believe that work is done. So with that, that's what the excavator is sitting there for. But what he's Oh, I think the excavator's gone now. There is a truck there. But yeah, so that was replacement of the concrete mats, which we did get a permit from the building department to do too. He's just trying to get as much work done that he can within the bounds of the permitting requirements so that when we do get all the permits to do the work, that he can get done quickly.
And nothing to do with the tanks?
No, no, the tanks are remaining. They are double wall fiberglass.
Are the tanks still good, operational?
Yep, they're double wall fiberglass. They comply with all the Suffolk County regulations and DEC regulations, as are the piping, and the dispensers are also double wall fiberglass. Electronic leak detection system, meet all standards.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So just two things for application 24-133. We would like to add on variance number 8, which is amended to include the 5.4, which is the landscape buffer on the one side is 3.9, which is the greater relief. So we'd like to add just for consistency that it's 5.4 in the rear. So amendment number 8, 24-133.
All right, what do you want? Oh, yeah, sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to, on application 24-133, to amend variance number 8, to amend to add and 5.4 inches.
Second.
All in favor?
And we are waiting for the fire marshal for 24-133, and we would like the revised plan for the sign, so we have the sign inspector.
Can I submit them tonight? Great.
We're also eliminating one of those variances on,
We can wait for the sign inspector to review it, and we'll prepare a memo with the amendment.
any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? The record, there are none, so we're going to close both hearings. Reserve decision, we're waiting on fire marshal and revised plans for the sign, so we'll keep the record open.
Thank you very much, folks. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Just for the record, we're closing, reserving, record open for both applications. And 24-134 is the fire marshal piece, and for your record.
Okay, we're ending the live stream portion of our